And his message was simple, that he was going to be a transparent branch treasurer. And in his account, his last account today as the branch treasurer, I think he has absolutely distinguished himself in that position. Let's give it up for Let's give it up for him. Let's give it up for him. And for the new executives that the standard now has been set so high that we have a responsibility to lift it even higher. When we strive to attain, the minimum we can do is to at least maintain. So the newly executives that are going to be coming up, please bear that in mind. We're going to move straight into our plenary session number 2. The goal is to end all our activities here latest by 5 o'clock so that we can take a recess, go to our hotels, take a shower, wear our suit and tie, and come and dance this place off. So I'm going to call on my brother. Just a minute. Yes. Mama Fankoto, a friend say, oh, Bitcoin, now Mama will be a pressure of Yao. Me pressure me for Muano, Massa. At the Bitcoin, they am in home. So, Mr. Meka. All right. Just a minute.
Yeah, I just want a clarity from the treasurer. He was talking about us being a political organization. I know we file in New York as an NGO. So why do we file taxes as a political organization or an NGO? I want that clarification.
Is it 503? 519? Okay.
527. Yeah, that's a political organization, not the non-for-profit organization at the state level. Huh? As a political party, basically a political organization. Yeah. So not the NGO, no. At the federal, so I think that's the clarity. The federal level, it's like you're setting up an organization. And when you set up an organization, at your state level, you register for it with the state. But you go to the federal for EIN. Your EIN type of business you are doing. So if you are NGO set up, then you go and request an EIN exception for tax-free purposes. So that's where the difference is. At the federal level, you are a political organization. That's where you are required to file as a political organization, not NGO, because we don't have a EIN. Our EIN is a political EIN, political organization EIN, not a tax-exempt organization. So that's where the differences comes in.
All right. Say Mudaho. Is it transparent? Madam Chair, real quick.
Okay. There is a 501c3 organizations that are charitable organizations that also have a tax-exempt or they are tax-exempt purpose organizations. The Patriotic Institute USA that we've registered is a 501c3 charitable organization that requires us to do fundraising. We are going to apply for tax exempt from the state of incorporation, and we can go beyond that state to do other things. So, for example, this event we are having, because we are doing it under a 527 political organization, we don't enjoy tax exempt. So every tax that this hotel has to charge us, they are going to charge us. But if we were using, let's say, Patriotic Institute, which is a charitable, and we are tax exempt, then all the taxes would have been waived for this event. So that's the difference between the 527 political organization vis-a-vis the 501c3, which the Patriotic Institute is, but not NPP-USA. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to move straight to the next phase of our program, and I'm going to call on my brother, Mr. Frank Entry from New York, the Big Apple chairman, to come and lead us as we do the second plenary session. Let's give it up for Chairman as he comes to moderate the second plenary session.
Thank you very much, Francis. And we'll be very time conscious with this one. We're going to talk about voting. The diaspora perspective. If you have this, what is captured is e-voting versus in-person. And we understand that we could have in-person, but e-voting, that is not what we're talking about. Like all of us are here, it's in person, but the mode or the method of voting will still be electronic. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about analog versus smart. We're talking about digital versus manual. Whether we want to go back or we want to move forward, that's what we're talking about. And those who help us with this discussion, I'm going to mention, when you hear your name, please come up here. Mr. Daniel Boache Mensah. Mr. Daniel Boache Mensah, are you here? Kuche? You don't need introduction. You know him already. He has been one of the pioneers of this chapter and worked with the branch, with the IT. And of course, we cannot bypass him. He needs to share knowledge on these processes. Second is Mr. Francis Kobina. Francis Kobina is the Deputy IT for the branch. He's everywhere with us. See what he's doing. This should tell you what he'll be talking about. He's already digital. And then we have Bright Osei Bonsu Jr., popularly known as Levels. Levels, you know him, he's the director of elections and research now. I don't even know. Levels, are you outgoing or incoming or outgone? Anyway, Levels has been doing fantastic job for the branch, like since time immemorial, if you know him. Not just here and in Ghana. For security reasons, I will not disclose some things, but he is one of the safest pair of hands of the party, and he's coming from here. He's also from the Massachusetts chapter. Gentlemen, we have this topic, e-voting versus in-person, the diaspora perspective. And extensively, we want you to speak to this issue. I'm sorry, please forgive me. My adrenaline is low right now. The fourth person is our brother Salim Bamba. Salim is the current Ashanti Regional Nasara Coordinator, aspiring to be the National Nasara Organizer. He's no more coordinator, organizer. Thank you. So we have a table of men. Okay. For some reason, we want to have an odd number here. So we want to call on the fifth person, Mr. Kofi Nyame. Where is Kofi Nyame? He's in the back. Please call him. Yes, doctor. I know, but sometimes we will accept it as it is. Yes. So please join your colleagues. You will not sit down there with all you've been doing for the branch. You have to share some insights. He is our communication director, very good in IT. He's been doing most of the IT stuff. So I believe we have a very good team to discuss this issue. Quickly, we begin with host, Massachusetts. You have the microphone on the table. And each of you will have 3 minutes to speak to this. E-voting versus in-person. Thank you.
Can I ask for an exception and be given 20 minutes, please? I'm only kidding. All right. So, let me start by saying that, I'm never against technology. I've never been against the e-voting. In fact, there are a lot of benefits and advantages for using the electronic system that NPP-USA introduced. We all know how diverse, in terms of location, that we have, and technology definitely has many, many advantages, to us. The issue has never been about the technology, but it's about how, we're using the technology. In order not to digress and to mince words, permit me, I will be, consulting my Bible a little bit, so please forgive me for that. Yeah, I use the Bible. Yeah, Bible has a lot of technology in it. You have no idea. The benefits, I don't need to go through them. We know using technology is fast. It reduces the paper handling and also the logistical cost. It also encourages greater participation because more people can participate if they don't have to be here in person to vote. And, it's also very convenient. You can sit in the comfort of your room and vote. So we all know the benefits. However, we need to separate the technology from the process. The technology is designed to do one thing, and it does it very well. The other things we need to look at is the process. And in my view, the issue has never primarily been the system that we use, to do the voting. Any election, be it manual or by technology or electronic, is only as good as the processes we put around it. So I'm not going to go through the process and talk about everything that folks have raised since 2012 or 2014 when we. I don't know that's when we started, but that's when I got involved in NPP-USA for rail in terms of technology. The issues are known to some, but I'm going to focus more on the principles involving around the technology. Over the years, we've had concerns about using the technology. Sorry, my eyes. I probably have to use my glasses. So, the issue has more been about the transparency, access controls, voter list management, and also the oversight. Whether every concern is valid or not is almost beside the point. I mean, anybody can raise any concern. It could be true, it could be false. However, the mere perception of that the system can be manipulated should be enough to raise concern for us all. It may be true, it may not be true, but just the perception alone is not good. I'm going to spend more time offering, my suggestions. And the first suggestion, these are just ideas that are coming from me. The first suggestion I would like to give is independent oversight of our election administration. I think that is what is probably lacking with the system that we have. The system itself is good, but the oversight, we probably need to beef it up a little bit. We need to have a multi-person election committee to check and, with checks and balances, so no single individual can control the system. We also need to have transparent voting lists, verification and voting before voting begins. We need to have a clear documented election procedures published in advance. We need to have independent observers and auditors, but this is also very important. We need to have post-election audits. Once elections are done, we need to have some team or some committee to go through and audit the system. And if there were any concerns that were raised, any issues that were raised, they need to look into it and then help, find and the way forward, for the future. So to conclude, I just want to say that, the question before us is not whether or not technology should be used. I believe it should. We should use technology. The real question is whether we are prepared to put in place the governance structures that make technology worthy of the confidence that the members put into it. Trust is not created by software. Trust is created by transparency, accountability, and also fairness. So once we're able to do this, I don't think we would have any problem. People are going to believe in the system, and when elections are done and over, those who lose would have the faith and confidence in the system and be able to accept that they lost, and not go around bandying falsehoods and, wrong impressions. So this is what I have to contribute.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Boachimensa. Very interesting recommendations over there. Shall we have Mr. Kofi Nyame? Please talk to us. What's your take?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Disclaimer, I was just invited, so I even left my coffee there and I don't have my notebook. But I would say that I have a lot to say about it, but I'll highlight about 4 or 5 points. The key is not technology or no technology, and as my brother just said, it's really about whether there is trust in the system. Do I trust that this gentleman, this lady, who is managing the system will do it in such a way that my interests would be met? Do I trust that the people or the systems, the structures that are in place to manage it would ensure that there is free and fair participation and not something done to exclude other parties? That's one. The second thing is, I believe elections are not necessarily won or lost by the mechanism you vote, electronic or not. It starts with the voter roll. The album is the election. And so having a process around who qualifies to vote, what is the eligibility to vote, and being clear and unvarying on the vote, and ensuring that if you meet the criteria, you join. If you don't meet the criteria, you don't join. And that criteria is clear and not varied on a day-to-day basis, and everybody knows it. So when you wake up in the morning, you should know whether you qualify to vote or not. Nobody should tell you. The system is there, it is transparent, it's clear. If we can have that hurdle done, then we would not have much of a problem, because from my perspective, once we have a clear voter register, so yes, having the final voter register that will form the basis on which we are going to vote available to everybody, contestants, voters, early in the process, having a credible way of appealing in such a way that it doesn't look as if you are not being allowed to vote, you are not being allowed to appeal, is also very clear. The voter roll is the election. Trust is built before the election day, and it's these issues that are there. The other thing is about messaging around the elections. Messaging, because if information is not complete, or it appears as if constituencies have some information others don't, then it creates doubt, it creates fear, and it looks as if what is going on. But if we can have one source of truth and trust the source of the information and the messaging around it, then that is it. And I think Chairman Boucher made the point. The technology must be verifiable. In AI, we talk about explainability. You need to be able to explain every step of the way. How are the votes being tallied? Who has access to the back ends? Are the back ends available? Can I see who voted for who? So all of these issues need to be very clear and transparent so that when we are going in here, we know that this is the system we are going to do. These are the capabilities of the system. I've had occasion to tell people that I've vetted a lot of these systems, and I know you can break it because it's a third party or a fourth party system, and these are the scenarios, these are the protections that are in there. But if it is not clear, the inner workings, it becomes a black box, then yes, I have questions. What I may be afraid of may not be real. But the fact that I think that way and I believe it makes it real for me. Because for me, I believe that the appearance of transparency is as important as transparency itself. So we need to figure out a way to do it in such a way that even if quote unquote is not transparent, it appears transparent, and then we'll all trust you. And the final point I'll make is that we should design the system in such a way that the losing side would accept it. And I repeat that. We should design the system in such a way that the losing side will have no reason to come up and say there was a problem with this. So if it passes that litmus test, then I'm sure that we have a credible system. I would say where I lie in terms of electronic versus in-person at a different point. But I believe that the governance around it is the critical point that we need to look at. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Kofi Nyame. Let's have our brother from the Ashanti region, the Nasara coordinator, Salim Bamba, share his thoughts on this very important topic.
Thank you very much. For me, the very foundation of whether or not we do e-voting or we do analog in person, the foundation is the foundation of democracy. The principle of one man, one vote. And more so, people who are anti-globalization will tell you that it will be better we go analog. And people who are pro-globalization, pro-technology will rather tell you that the world is going a certain direction, and the direction is e-voting, and that countries around the world should strive to move along that direction. And for us in Africa, when the world was going about the first, second, and third industrial revolution, we were nowhere to be found. So if today we are striving to participate in the fourth industrial revolution, it is important that we are pro-technology, pro-globalization. Having said that, the very foundation of whether or not we do e-voting or analog has to do with trust. Number 2, convenience. Number 3, costs. All these must be put into the basket to be able to trust the system. When we are questioning about convenience, everybody will agree that e-voting is convenient to analog. Today, this conference we are holding, people coming from far and near, if, for example, we're supposed to vote, and we are going to consider the activities people are involved in, the busy schedules of individuals here in the diaspora especially, and a lot on their plate, the demands here in America and the demands in Ghana, people chasing to make some dollars within hours, it would be prudent we shift to e-voting rather than converging to vote at a particular location. But whilst doing that, how do we come at a balance, analog vis-a-vis e-voting? Countries around the world, for example, Estonia, they go strictly and generally online internet voting. The likes of Brazil, India would use electronic machines to do electronic voting, but in person. Even in Ghana, the new Patriotic Party is the party that has been the vanguard of electoral reforms. Starting from where we came from, opaque ballot boxes, to transparent ballot boxes, to a point after 2012 elections, there we saw the need for a lot electronic electoral transformation. And we came about the biometric verification system. So that is where it starts. People would have to be verified. By verification, it means that that fundamental principle of democracy, one man, one vote, one person doesn't vote twice. So we have that system. So I want to say that at this point, especially in the diaspora, we should look at where we could have a hybrid system, where we would have the convenience and the system would also be trusted. So at the end of the day, when elections are held, losers must admit that the system really worked as expected, and the winners win fair and squarely. So by doing so, the audit system must be robust, and also, even if the need be for re-election, that can also be done, and the system will produce the same results. So for me, fundamentally, I am a pro-globalization person, pro-technology person, and I can say strongly that I will choose e-voting any day against analog elections. And I hope that West Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa would go that direction, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Salim. Thank you so much. And can you please pass on the microphone to Mr. Francis Corbiner?
All right. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I wouldn't want to go to the technical aspect of e-voting or, voting in person, but I'm talking about the moral aspect of voting. So growing up, I happened to be, about 25 years ago, worked for the Electoral Commission of Ghana as a returning officer. And one of the things I noticed in our deliberation is this: people vote with their heart and mind. So in the Western region, there's a community that you need to cross a river before you take the ballot over there. You go there, and at 4 a.m., the people are up at the polling centers waiting. This is how important voting is. So anybody who plays with voting, it means that you do not have your people at heart. Whatever you do, do not disenfranchise even one voter. That is the principle. Whether e-voting, physical voting, do not. So you can have a conversation around which of them is good. As an IT person, of course, I would choose e-voting all the time. I mean, not all the time, most of the time. But in doing so, at no point should my choice affect a single voter. That should be basic for everybody. All right, thank you.
Well, that was brief. But you came in with something new, that the system should not disenfranchise anybody. Thank you so much. Rebels, I should have called you first. I don't know how come you escaped. You have the floor.
Thank you, everybody, for making it to here. So I'll talk about e-voting, NPP-USA, what we have done over the years. For every election, I think it's all about the integrity of the election. So if person A goes to the ballot and vote for person B, the goal or the aim of person A is to make sure that their ballot that they cast is counted for the person B that they cast the ballot for. And that is what has been the mantra of voting everywhere in the world. So NPP-USA, what we have done in the past, just as the EC does in pretty much every country, we have guidelines for voting. The guidelines are published before time. In the past, and there are certain places, especially in Ghana, where the guidelines for each election is released maybe like 2 or 3 months before the election. And then you have people like at loggerheads, they are fighting over the guidelines because somebody thinks that the other person is trying to do some machinations, some mafia work. NPP-USA, in our own wisdom, we thought that was not great for us because we don't want to go through every election cycle and, we are fighting over the same thing. So at some point, as a branch, we decided that we are going to have our guidelines as part of our bylaws. So we are in 2026, and if you have ambitions to run for elections in 2030, you know exactly what you need to do to be able to qualify to vote in 2030. And I think that was brilliant. It takes that acrimony and that in-house fighting away. On top of that, we have something that we call election committee. Election committee is selected, obviously, representative from Ghana, representative from the US, and all of that. They have guidelines in the past, the guidelines that are published in our bylaws that we used to vote. In doing so, they get some data from the branch. As a committee, they cannot manufacture their own data because if we're saying somebody should have paid their branch dues or their chapter dues, obviously they have to go through the chapter, they have to go through the branch to get all these data. They cannot, as a committee, go straight to the chapter, but they have to work through the branch to get that data. When they get it, they have something we call provisional voters register, just as the EC does in Ghana. That is published for everybody to see. It's public knowledge. And then if you have any challenges or if your name is missing, you can go to the EC and get it rectified. Just as we do here, we get it published. If there are any discrepancies, you bring it forward. We work with you and make sure everything is corrected. We correct data including but not limited to the person's first name, last name, email address, phone number, and all of that. We get that straight. When we are all said and done, we have something we call the final register, which is published. It's not hidden anywhere. So in going to the elections, we are talking about trust. This is one of the trust process that we have to put in place. Making sure people are fully aware of the album. So at the end of the day, we have 500 eligible people that qualify to vote. It's no secret. Unlike Ghana, in most instances, we hear as a party that, some people are doing some shenanigans with the album. There have been instances where 12 hours to the elections, they don't even have an album. It happens. And that is no secret. It happens in Ghana. So fast forward, we have tried to use e-voting. So the e-voting platform that we use, we source this from a third party. NPP-USA as a political party, we don't have our own system. There are a lot of systems here in the US that, we have our requirements, we define our requirements, we see what these systems or these companies they have and try to see, okay, can they satisfy the requirements that we are looking for? We can talk about authentication and all of that. So what we do is when the final register is put together, obviously, if a system has been selected, it's going to be uploaded into the system. And what the system does is we want to make sure with every voting, one person can only vote once. It's very, very important. So we ask, okay, can the system achieve that for us? And the system does. So then we upload everything into the system. We set time. Okay, we want to start our elections from, let's say, 6 p.m. to, the following day, 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever it is. Then the system at some point will generate a unique user ID for each eligible voter that was uploaded into the system. It will also have a unique voter password that will be sent to the person and that person alone. So it's very, very important for us to get that clear. During the duration of the election, the system can be set up that, okay, can you set 5 reminders, 4 reminders, whatever reminders that we deem fit, we can pay for it and have the system sent. So at some point, you haven't voted, the system sends you another message, hey, your voting is ending in 24 hours. Your voting is ending in 12 hours. Your voting is ending in 3 hours, 2 hours, all of that. Your user ID and password is unique to you and you only. We've had instances. So when you are presented your ballot, on the day you presented your ballot, there's going to be a link. You click on the link, you have to type in your username, you have to type in your password. Just so you know, we could have set up the system that when you click on the link, automatically, it takes you to it presents a ballot to you. But in our wisdom, we want to have a human element so that somebody cannot sit somewhere and say that, oh, my link is not working. No. You have to be the one to type in your username. You have to be the one to type in your password. So that responsibility has been shifted to you. It's by design. It has been shifted to you. When you type in that and you are qualified to vote, then the system will authenticate you. When the system authenticates you, then the ballot is presented to you. Okay, on the chairmanship position, do you want to vote for person A, person B? You have the ballot, just like if you went to the polling station and the EC gave you like the paper ballot. The same thing is presented to you. You make your choices. When you are done, and again, the system in Ghana, or if we are doing in-person ballot, a physical paper has been given to you. You can choose not to vote for anybody. But the e-voting, we've made it such that you are forced to select one. Make a choice because you've decided to vote. Then when you are done and you want to submit, you could have made a mistake. So the system is designed such that it prompts you. You have selected person A, B, C, D. Are you really sure you want to vote for person A, B, C, D? Oh, no, I don't want to make for person A, B, C, D. I want to make some changes. You make changes. When you are sure, you submit it. It's going to ask you again, do you really want to submit this? Then you go ahead and submit it. Then the system will say, okay, you have voted. This is a receipt of the vote that you cast. Just so you know, the receipt will have a unique ID on that receipt that is unique to you. And there's a reason why we have that. Because bear in mind, every single process or every single step that you took to be able to submit your ballot is captured in something that we call logs. So that at some point, if we have to do audit and make sure that you actually voted, we can go through the logs and say, okay, you opened the link at this time, you selected A, B, C, D, you hit send at that time. This is the device that you voted from. Whether it's a phone, whether it's a computer, it will tell you. If it's a computer, it's going to tell you whether it's a Windows machine or an Apple machine. It will tell you. If you are voting from a phone, it will tell you what kind of phone it is or the operating system. Whether it's an iPhone or Android, it's going to tell you. On top of that, it's going to tell you which browser that you use. Maybe you are using an iPhone, you have Safari on it, you have Google on it, you have Chrome. It's still going to tell you that. It's going to tell you, give you a timestamp as to what time you voted, and also give you an IP address. IP address is basically your location. So the system will capture all of that, and we'll have it in the logs. In the past, you've had people say, oh, I have instances where some people are voting 2, 3, 4, and 5. I can confidently tell you guys that is not true. So my brothers were talking about the perception of trust. That is very key in every election. And there was one thing that they touched on, which was the loser accepting the outcome of the elections. It's very, very true, but at some point we need to understand that emotions are very high and you cannot force somebody to accept elections. What you have to do is make sure that the processes that you entails in that election are very, very transparent and everything is in the know to everybody. So then at the end of the elections, we log into the system. The system does their tally and all of that. At any point in time, and I agree with my brother Boucher here, we've now had an instance where we've done audits. But that auditing of the results, those capabilities and those rights are available to all the contestants. In our election guidelines, we've said after the elections, if you have a need to want to challenge something, then you bring it up. By the end of the election, if people feel like, okay, there's nothing to challenge, but they'll rather go out there and spread rumors or make noise out of nothing, when indeed you have the opportunity to say, okay, I am challenging the results of the elections. Let's go through the audit. But people don't take advantage of that. And they do, they do spread rumors and, yeah. So again, somebody will say, oh, I witnessed 2 or 3 people voting. It's like somebody voted twice or 3 times. Can that happen? The answer is no and yes. The system would not allow you to vote 2 or more than once. It's very, very important that we get that clear. The fact that the system would not allow you to vote twice doesn't mean you can't vote twice. And I need you guys to listen to this very well. Most of us here might have partners. You live with your wife, your kids, and all of that. So assuming on your way to Massachusetts, assuming we're having an electronic election, you are sitting in the car driving to the airport, and your wife reminds you, oh, have you voted? And you go like, no, I haven't voted. Then your wife goes like, oh, I've already voted. You are driving. You choose to give your phone or your email to your wife. Say, oh, this is my email, this is my username, this is my password. Can you vote for me? I want you to vote for person A, B, C, D. Technically, your wife has voted twice. But in the system, it's not your wife, it's coming from you. You chose to give your vote to your wife to do that for you. So when somebody goes out there and says, oh, I have somebody who voted 3 times, 4 times, that is not true. It can never be true. And even with that, the system is going to flag it because the system feels like we are all unique individuals. The system doesn't know anything about families. So when we are all said and done, there's something called fraud analysis. The system is going to flag it that, okay, I had 2 votes coming from a single device, a single browser, a single IP address. So then we go through this fraud analysis with all the contestants. So assuming we all know Obaya and her husband, and we go into this vote and it says Obaya Frimpong, Mr. Anthony Frimpong Jima. Right off the bat, we know it's a family. And if a family is voting from one device, you cannot say that that is fraud. No, it's not fraud because there are 2 unique votes, but it's just coming from one device. So I hope we make that clear. Wanted to address something in regards to the impasse that we've had with Ghana. As part of the guidelines, as you guys are aware, we're saying that NPP-USA IT and Ghana IT will get together and decide on which electronic platform that we're going to use. Some way, somehow, they didn't want to use our platform. And when I say our platform, the platform that we have been using, that is not for NPP-USA. It's a third-party platform. We can choose that it doesn't satisfy all the requirements that we are looking for. Remember, at some point, we have High Five, right? Social media. Then we had MySpace. Where are they now? They are gone. Now we have Facebook. Facebook, at some point, they are losing new users. Now we have TikTok. That is the new thing. So with technology, you can always improve. It depends on your requirements. So now the Ghana party in Ghana came up with a system, and I need you guys to follow me here. That system is built by NPP Ghana, hosted by NPP Ghana, administered by NPP Ghana. And NPP Ghana has an interest in every single election in NPP. Are we clear on that? So how could you be the judge, the lawyer, the clerk? It doesn't work that way. Yes. So it's all about trust, right? And then we said, okay, it's fine. You guys have built a system. So these are compliance stuff that we are talking about. Now let's even get to the technical stuff. Assuming we're having a competition, and the competition has to do with cooking, and we have like 5 females here, we want them to cook. But we are saying Obaya is a participant of that cooking competition. Now we want everybody to cook their food, take it to Obaya's house, and have Obaya put it in her fridge. Then at some point we are going to take examiners to Obaya's house for them to go inspect the food. Like, how is that possible? When she's a candidate, how could we have it in her house? Okay, assuming we have given it to another person, like a third party, who doesn't have any interest in the cooking competition, we are not in any way saying that third party cannot do anything nefarious. Yes, they can. That is why we have like a myriad of controls, right? For elections to be fair, the EC in Ghana, they publish the album, It's very transparent. When you go there, your ballot is given to you. It's in plain sight. Everybody sees it. You put indelible ink on your nails. You go there, you vote, and they ask you to leave. And the ballot box is transparent. When it's all said and done, it's counted in open space for everybody to see. So that trust level is a process. So now they bring the system to us, and I'm like, great. Submit the documents. And then we ran some analysis. And I said, okay, where is the penetration testing? Penetration testing is basically saying, you are an accountant. You have your own books. You have your own company. To be a great or a good accountant, you want to be able to audit your books. But you cannot take the books that you have audited to a bank or maybe like the IMF or World Bank or whatever and say that, okay, my house is clean. No, it doesn't work that way. They will bring an external party for them to inspect your system to say that, okay, if you claim A is A, they have been able to confirm that A is A and then B is B. Now you do that and you bring us the results. And then the results that you bring to us, let's say it was sent to us at 1 p.m. Then we come back to you and say, okay, no, we are seeing some vulnerabilities. Why do we have these vulnerabilities? And you come back and accept that, okay, there are vulnerabilities, you are going to fix it. Then in 3 hours, you have fixed those vulnerabilities. And you tell us that, okay, we have run a test. This is the report of the test. We said, no, it cannot work that way. Because you cannot run a pen test within 3 hours. And again, that system has never been used. I want to put it on record. It has never been used by anybody anywhere in the world. Not even in Ghana. And it has never been tested in Ghana. So then why are we not using that system to run the constituency elections in Ghana and the regional elections in Ghana? Why are we not doing that? On top of that, we are very much aware that the current elections that we are having in Ghana, some constituencies have their elections suspended or cancelled. I'll give you examples in Ashanti region. Adansi Asokwa, Bantama, I think Asokwa Refujaso or something. Why? Because some executives, rumors have it that some executives in Ashanti region went to go conduct those elections. And the elections were supposed to be held by the EC. So constituency or regional executives running elections at the constituency level, it was unaccepted. So the elections have to be cancelled. So then, if you are saying NPP-USA has to use a system that has been built in Ghana, why would you want to run our elections for us? Because as a national party, you cannot run that elections. Yes, I understand they have a point of interest. We all have a point of interest. But we are asking that the right thing is done. We are not in any way against any electronic system. But we want to make sure that the right system has been brought for everybody to accept it, so we can all make progress. At the end of the day, NPP-USA has to move forward. We can't go back.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Levels. Levels, you know what? You guys keep it right there. Keep it right there. We don't have much time. I intentionally allowed you because this is the bone of contention. And I'm the moderator. I have the microphone. I'm airborne. Wait. I'm going to ask people to join because we know they don't have all the knowledge. You definitely have the floor. But please avoid repetition of questions. I know and I understand that most of the things you are going to say have been addressed. We know it, we know what you're talking about. But we're still going to open the floor. All right? Be snappy and don't actually direct questions to people like that. We are here to solve problems. Just ask your question and then it will be answered. Elijah. Please don't flout the rules of the game. I'm insisting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I just had a little struggle. The topic for discussion in itself was very specific. E-voting versus in-person, the diaspora perspective. We've had a panelist of 4 or 5 persons. They were clear, very straightforward, simple. And to me, I felt like there was a specific discussion on an attempt to defend an issue. If you want to be able to give us a clarity as to if the topic in itself was
the discussion of the topic was in the right direction. That's my problem.
Any question? Any other question? Chairman Afrifa.
Okay, yeah, it's okay.
Okay. I know my brother Level spoke at length, and I will direct my question to him. In 2022, in Cincinnati, when we were voting, I arrived at Cincinnati around 11:30. When I get to the hotel, it was around 11, almost 12 midnight. And at that time, I had not received my credentials to vote. I asked where he was, and they told me, I don't remember who did, but they told me that he was at James's house. So we drove to Cincinnati, his house. When we got there, they said he's gone back to the hotel. We came, it was about almost 5 minutes to 12 for the election to close. And at that time, I had not still received my credentials. It took my chairman, my treasurer, he's not here today, Mr. Manu. He had received 2 sets of credentials. He used one to vote, and I used one, the second credential that he received to vote. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to vote. So when we are complaining about integrity of the system, that is a clear, and I can use myself in 2022 as an example. So all that you said,
okay,
that's an anomaly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Frifa. Wait. Go this way.
We'll take another question and then
Ima.
Chairman Kusi.
I think what has been explained here is very important. Some of us are wondering why the elections was postponed. And this question of e-voting plus in-person, to me, if you've been in the U.S. for so many years, should be clear. U.S. is not Ghana. There are so many states. I could not have been here, but I need to vote. So how do I vote? And I like Levels going deep into it. Why? I want to know what is going on in Ghana and why we have been suspended in terms of the voting. So please, let us bear, because some of us like to acquire knowledge. And what he has explained why the back and forth, to me, is very, very critical and crucial. So that I can go home and tell whoever, oh, this is the more reason why we could not hold voting here. So please, let's exercise patience. What the panelists did mention was controls. You want to be able to control, trust, but verify. What is the verification? If you trust but you don't have the means to verify, then you leave room for doubt. Let us make sure that we are one NPP. We are not NDC and a different party. We are one NPP, and we want the best for the party. Please, let us exercise patience and let us trust one another by putting in place controls that will make our elections fair to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So
Senior Jim.
I'm going to give Levels. So we'll take only 2 more questions after this, so we can.
So, Mr. Elijah, back to your question. So the topic was e-voting versus in-person, the diaspora perspective. So I was actually giving my in-depth perspective on the topic. And I thought a best example to use was how NPP-USA will do ours. So that is my perspective on that. Dr. Fifa, you said you are using yourself as an example because there was an anomaly. What I can tell you is this. No system is 100% proof. That is number one. Number two, on the issue of somebody receiving 2 ballots or 2 credentials, I can tell you on authority, I don't want to use the word it's not true, but I will challenge that any day. Reason being that it's a mere saying. There is no evidence from that person saying that this is my email. If that person sent me 2 emails that he received with those username and user passwords, listen, it's not just reading the email. We have forensics. And I can dig through that email and tell you which server sent that email, when it was sent, everything that it went through for the person to receive it, and debunk holes in what the person said. So I can tell you, nobody, at least from the logs in the system, which I have checked, and just so you know, every single election NPP-USA we've had, that is electronic, today, we have logs. If anybody challenged anything, we'll be able to go into the system and prove that XYZ year, if Obaya had 200 votes, right? The logs are there to substantiate the 200 votes that Obaya had. If another person had 300 votes, the logs are there to substantiate that. What do you mean that is not true? I have it, but you said that is not true.
Hello. Dr. Freefa, please. Levels, wait. Hello. Doc, hello, please.
Let me also address something really quick. You remember I was telling you guys the process that we go through, right? Even if somebody had 2 emails, example with Obaya, I kept using Obaya and her husband. Some way, somehow, if the list of eligible voters, we had Mrs. Obaya and Mr. Frimpong, and they had one email address, the system is going to flag it. The system will going to flag it. The system will not even allow you to send 2 ballots to one single email address. It's okay for couples to want to use one email address, but the purposes of this election, the system will flag it and the system will not allow it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One more, Francis, wait. Please, let's try as much as possible. You will not, hello?
Go ahead.
We will not use this plenary to generate any pandemonium or scuffle. There is no problem here. Okay, what they are doing is to explain the vulnerabilities with the system. Please, we will not allow that. Thank you. That's the next one.
Let me give our 2 ladies here the chance.
Okay, and that will be it.
Hello, please, this question goes to Levels. I know if we use the voting, the system is going to authenticate the number for us. Is it going to be any facial recognition in it so that the system will flag if somebody is voting twice? And then secondly, to those who can't use computer for voting, are we going to have like a paper mailing voting also? So that is my question I want to ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
We'll take
May.
our lady here.
Thank you. I wanted to find out if this system has been piloted. If it has, have you audited to see the viability of it so that we will know that it's viable and we'll go by it? Thank you. No, this system here.
Okay, the U.S. system. Okay, I'll give it to Levels to address those 2 questions. No, she's talking about the U.S. system.
So, Ms. May, you wanted to find out if the system will allow for double voting. No, the system doesn't allow it. So, no, it doesn't have facial recognition. But again, like I said, it doesn't belong to us, right? Somebody has already created it, and it's being used widely here in the U.S. So, as a party, if at any point in time we say we want to try facial recognition, we can go out there and find out if there are any electronic system electronic voting system that has facial recognition. Or we can talk to the vendor and say, hey, can you add facial recognition as part of the authentication for us? Obviously, we're going to have to pay more money. On the issue of double voting, when you are done voting and you try to vote again using your same username and password, the system is going to tell you have already voted.
Okay, so I'd like to make a quick comment. I'm an IT guy, so, I know in depth what this is all about. The technology we're using here, trust me, there's nothing wrong with the system. The technology is designed to do what it's supposed to do. What we as a branch have failed is to put governance and oversight in place to manage the whole system. But I can vouch for the technology system. Everything Levels has said is true. It's very difficult to circumvent it. But what we lack as a branch is putting governance and oversight over how the system is used.
So my sister did ask a question regarding if the system has been vetted. Yes, it's a third-party system, and they've gone through like a lot of compliance, like the pen test, the SOC 1, SOC 2, which is like industry recognized, right? Those are the things that we look for before choosing to go with what system A versus system B. And on top of that, one other thing that we also do is, after the album has been set and we publish the final voter register, we don't just stop there. We go ahead to send a test email because we know that people will be receiving their ballots through email. So we send a test email to try to see if we can get a bounce back. So we say, oh, you receive an email saying, this is coming from the branch election committee. This is just a test email to make sure that your email is valid. And when we are done and we get some bounce backs, we go to the various chapter chairs and say, hey, we got 2 bounce backs from your chapter. Or if that person has a phone number, we reach out to him and say, hey, your email is spelled blah, blah, blah. We got a bounce back. Do you want to correct it or anything? So we work with the various chapter chairs to correct that. Thank you.
Thank you. Francis. Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. The point I wanted to make is more or less to follow up from Chairman Boucher's. From my knowledge of technology and a few of these things, the technology is right, but as was said, it is how do we use the technology, the appearance of transparency, and the perception is, or the perception of whether or not the managers of the technology are managing it in a way that it is fair to all of us. And sometimes it is that perception or that reality or apparent reality of that creates a problem, not the tool itself. For me, if you were to ask me my suggestion as to the debate was our view on in-person or not in-person, I would say we need an e-voting system, but not managed by anybody in NPP, USA or Ghana. We can have a vendor managed, the same system that we are using, we can pay an upgrade and have it vendor managed. Nobody in the party will enter anything. Nobody in the party will do anything. But we all know that this is given to this party sitting somewhere. Even queries. I want to vote. I don't know how to vote. It doesn't come to anyone in NPP-USA. Frequency Bruni, he will tell you this is how you vote. We can even add on other layers. If somebody is not tech savvy enough, their email is not working, their vote, because it's third party, that third or fourth party layer can take their vote and document it. And we can trust that system. So indeed, my recommendation to NPP-USA, if we want to go this route, I don't believe the in-person voting is fair because that would disenfranchise way too many people. We need to go e-voting in a hybrid way, but not managed by NPP.
Thank you. Francis.
We'll take two last questions.
Francis.
One from Chairman Ima.
Yes, no,
and Chairman
Ima
Janice.
will come. Give it to the man in the hat.
Oh, okay.
From there, you go to Janice, and then you come to Ima.
Okay, all right.
And that will be it, please.
Thank you. Some time ago, we were told that understanding the question actually forms part of the examination. In Tisenia, Israel Kayano, your debate was simple. It's not the technicality of the e-voting. You see, it's between e-voting and analog. Me say Ninkrofu bebre ni mwa, but the reason why many people are not here is because the voting wasn't coming on. If the voting were to come on, this place would be packed and we will know each other. Let's hold on the technology a bit. Let's ask ourselves, why is it that sometimes it's good for people to converge at a place and then vote face to face? Technology need a idea to move. Everybody here say, if not anything at all, Dr. Baumia has been touted as head of digitalization. See, technology need there, no doubt. But why should we leave our homes and come here? There is a reason. Now, one of the reasons is say we are coming to vote in manual. Until sometimes, no, yeah, the question is to her, and you say e-voting and when e-voting is there obiajatum. But we come here for us to know each other, for us to bond. So for me, at one point in time,
okay,
I will take analog.
Thank you.
Because we need to come together
Thank
to
you.
know each other.
Thank you so much. So this is the first time we have somebody pushing for analog. All right, that's okay. Francis, go to Janice. Why are they? 7-1.
Kukurudu. It's good. My attention is numeral form. Let me read something about Election Runner. And this is on their website. Election Runner is what we use for our elections. Okay? Please. Can I go ahead? Go ahead. So I'm reading something. It says, administration and election runner have significant control over the administration of an election. If someone has broad administrative privileges, they may be able to influence aspects of the election before or during its administration. For example, by changing voter eligibility or ballot configurations if the system allows those actions. Why am I bringing this up? As Kofi Nyame said, if you have a system that is managed by someone within our institution, then that's not a third-party system. It's like you bought a car and you are driving it. So I support what our Director of Communications said. If you want an electronic system, which I support, it has to be managed by a external party. They put in the data, they announce the results. Nobody within NPP-USA should be a part of that process. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman Ima. Chairman Ima was...
Hello.
Please.
Hello.
Emmanuel Mensah has the floor. Let's listen to him.
Chairman, thank you very much. And I appreciate all of our experts for their delivery. The question that was asked, and I'm glad both Chairman Boucher and the Director of Research and Election also try to explain by debunking what was stated about one person voting twice or whatever the case is. I'm just trying to understand from the levels. In the system, do we have something we call a status of limitation in terms of when one casts their ballot? At what point in time can there be some an argument to that effect, just like what has just happened here, where we can go in the system and then find out indeed if this happened, so that it can be evidential to the voters or members. And lastly, to say this: if there is status of limitation and that actually is investigated and is found to be false or whatever the case is, can we ensure that since there is criminality involved here, that individual can be prosecuted? Because I have a police officer outside here now. Thank you.
I believe the last part was on the lighter note.
Francis.
Francis.
So, Kukudu. So, I'll address what Chairman Janice read. He read about having broad administrative rights and being able to influence it. And then the last sentence was like, if the system allows it. It's very, very important for us to understand that. If the system allows it. For the administration of the system, obviously somebody has to have access. Somebody has to upload the Excel for those who qualify to vote and those who do not qualify to vote. Or let's just say for those who qualify to vote. In the administration of the system, like I said, there's even an option to say, send a link to somebody, and then their username and password will be built in that link. So when they get the link, the moment they click on it, bam, they have a vote. But in our wisdom and thinking through like what we do like for analog voting, we said, no, that would not be right, because if it goes to court, the court is going to say you remove the human element from it. But now, if you force somebody to type in their username, you force them to type in their password. Again, you can even set up the system such that when they receive it, by default, their username is listed. But because we want to bring in the user element, whereby the burden of responsibility is shifted to the person who is actually voting, now it comes in blank. So the person has to type in their username and password. NPP-USA, like I said, every system, every electronic system, we keep making progress. So at some point as a branch, if one of the progress that we have to make is to contract a third party, let's say the vendor of that election system, to say, hey, add these capabilities. We want you to run our elections for us. Again, that is fair, but at the end of the day, data of those who qualify to vote has to be sent to that person. And it's going to be somebody's responsibility to send it to the vendor and say, hey, these are the 400, 500, 800, whatever number of people that qualifies to vote. That has been published to everybody. And we send it to the president. So again, we are all for making sure like the system is transparent. We are all for making progress so that we can have a better chapter and a better branch. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have the very final one coming from Dr. Charles Germana, Dr. China. He wants to add a voice to it.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's been very good listening to the panelists. My question has to do with the question Ima asked, but there was no response. So my first question is a bit strange, and it's very important, so please allow me, so that when I go back, I know exactly how to present matters before the steering committee. Is your system designed in such a way that 3 or 4 emails could be sent to Ima, let's say